In the last video we talked about the tone bass platforms such as pitch, PWM and high square, and how they could give us a great perception of target depth. If you missed that video, I'll put it up on the end screen. But today I want to talk about how we can use tones to identify the conductivity of targets and perhaps take our detecting with the DEUS II to the next level. Personally, I like to hear all targets, good or bad. I think it gives you more information to work with. Stay with me on this one. Let's start off with a simple two-tone program, yes or no. A low tone for iron and a high tone for everything else. So with the general program, our discrimination level is 10 and that determines our tone break. So let's go into the expert, two tones, expert again, to see what these tones are saying. Can you see there at the bottom left it says break 10, which is great. And the tone frequency is 202. Now, if we highlight above 202 and press the down button, we get into our second tone, which is 717. So the positive tone is 717. So for many people, a minimal tone program is less taxing on the ears. So why use multiple tones if you don't really need them? But let's move on to three tones, still using the general program. Discrimination 10, expert, let's switch it to three tones. And we can have a look to see what the tones are. So we've got tone break 10, of course, with the discrimination. Let's go to the middle, drop it down. 717 is our tone frequency. And you can see at the top there, it's telling you where the tone break starts and ends. And then the final tone, the high tone, is 817. So let's revisit our original test bed that we used in video number 1. 3 highly conductive coins, all the same value but at different depths. What I'm going to do here is leave one coin in the ground and replace the other two with a piece of foil and a piece of iron. Let's hear what they sound like using the general program in 3 tones. The coin, the foil and the iron. Now using 3 tones we can clearly identify the high and low conductive targets. We didn't need the meter at all, did we? Which goes to prove XP DEUS, sound is everything. Okay, I can hear you saying, so what if I'm searching a park and a gold ring comes in at the same tone value as a piece of foil, i.e. the mid-tones? What do I do about that? Well, good question, well delivered. And I'll cover that point very, very shortly. Within the DEUS II menu, you've got even more options. You've got 4 tones, 5 tones, even full tones. But wait, there's even more. Of course there is. When choosing 2 tones, 3 tones, 4 tones, 5 tones, even full tones, you can now assign user tone frequencies and also tone breaks. Now this is taking the DEUS to a completely different level. You can personalize your tones to suit specific sites. So in a nutshell, what are tone frequencies and what are tone breaks? Well, tone frequencies are the pitch of the tone you hear. A lot of this is down to personal preference, I know. Personally, I like my high tone to be 881, which is quite a high band, but you can adjust the tone frequencies to how you want them. And the tone breaks are the user-defined points where the tone starts and the tone ends. So that is one tone break, and then another tone break for another tone example. All you're doing is assigning blocks of target ID numbers to suit your specific tones, and it's as simple as that. The amount of tone breaks available depends on how many tones you've selected. For example, 2 tones has just 1 tone break, and that's the tone break between the low tone for iron and the high tone for the good targets. Remember, the discrimination defines where the tone break is there, but if you're using 3 tones, you've got 2 tone breaks to play with. 4 tones, you've got 3 tone breaks to play with. Now going back to the original question about the ring and the foil coming under the same tone when using 3 tones, let's address that one now. For this experiment I'm going to be using the original piece of foil and a small medieval hammered coin. Now these both register as the mid-tone using a free-tone. So what we need to do is first of all put them across the coil and see what target ID numbers they give so we can make further adjustments. Now the small coin. So okay, we've got the information. The foil comes in at 36, the medieval coin comes at 56, and they both fall within that mid-tone band. So what we've got to do is separate that band. And that's really simple. All we have to do is add another tone. So we're going from 3 tones to 4 tones, and that will allow us to give a tone break in between these two targets. And here's how to do it. Discrimination, expert, and we're still on 3 tones from the previous experiment. Let's go on to 4 tones, and then we can assign a new tone break if we so wish. Tone break 10, tone break 50, that's where it ends and tone number 3 comes in. 72 is where it ends and tone number 4 comes in. So let's give this a try in the factory default 4 tones. There's that really deep high conductor. Now the foil still coming in at that original mid-tone. Now if I step back a bit, I've got the small medieval coin. 2 differences in tones there. And we've got the iron still. So that's the factory default 4-tone mode, and that automatically separates foil from the low conductive targets which you may want to dig. Here's a top tip for you. If you make a custom tone program, or any custom program for that matter, don't forget to save it as a new custom program, because when you turn your machine off you'll lose everything. It doesn't save, so make sure you save them programs. Well, let's manipulate these tones even further. Let's mess around with the tone frequencies, and then we can really set this DEUS II up for our own personal preferences. What I want to do is leave the iron tone, leave tone number 2, which is the foil, and perhaps make adjustments to the small medieval coin and the high conductive target, and see what that sounds like. Discrim, expert, 4 tones expert, and we can see there the tone break is iron at 10, go down 1, the tone ends there, you can see on the graph at 50, so it's 11 to 50, and then the 3rd tone ends at 72, and the 4th tone cuts in. So let's go across one and listen to these tones. So let's go back. Iron tone is 202. 2nd tone, that foil, 717, this is the frequency. 3rd tone, our hammered coin, 817, and the 4th tone, the high conductor, 901. So let's make some changes to this. Let's start off with the coin. Let's raise that up to 881. Gone too far there, look. 881, go down 1 more, 901. So let's go up to, I don't know, 972, how does that sound? And that's it, that's all we have to do. Here we go then, our first target, the high conductor. Can you hear how that's lifted? Now the foil, nothing's changed. But we have changed the medieval coin. And we haven't changed the iron. Again, foil, coin, or your gold ring, as we spoke about earlier, and iron. Top tip here, if you're making custom tone breaks, bearing in mind the target ID can change depending on target orientation, ground mineralization, or even depth, so just bear that one in mind. Well, if this video's brought you any entertainment or value, why not like and subscribe to the XP YouTube channel so we can test some more XP tech together in the future. Very quickly, let me show you how to make adjustments to the tone brakes, because you might not want the start and end points the same as the factory defaults. As you see there, number 2 on the graph ends at 50, number 3 ends at 72. So all we do is press the button there until we get to the brake, go down to 50, it's highlighted. Let's say we want that to brake at about 38. So you literally just use the down button, 38, how's that? Well, you can manipulate these tones and tone brakes to your heart's content. There's one thing for sure, sound is everything. Did I say that before? Of course I did. Well, I hope that's given you a little bit more confidence to start experimenting with your XP DEUS II. Bye bye.